Okay, so today is the last day in Patong Beach, last day in Koh Phuket. Quick reminder, Koh Phuket is a connected island to the mainland, and the place that I'm traveling to is a city named Chiang Mai. So for perspective, if you can imagine the country of Thailand as sort of being like a big ball with a little leg hanging on it, I'm way down here in the leg, so I'm kind of down in like the Indian Ocean. Chiang Mai is far in the north, so it's a lot closer to sort of like mainland China if you go to their neighboring countries. I'm going to read through the guidebook while I'm waiting here. I'm actually waiting for the airport shuttle, and that's going to be here like in about 30 minutes or so. So according to my guidebook, the first thing they tell you is that if you like a city that is really beautiful, then Chiang Mai is the place to go. In comparison to Bangkok, one of the reviewers said that, you know, Bangkok is kind of an ugly city in comparison to Chiang Mai because, well, Bangkok has some nice things in it, Chiang Mai has a lot more. And that's kind of part of the reason that I want to go there. Is like there's a lot more beautiful architecture, a lot more beautiful temples. I haven't gotten tired of temples yet. And it's connected to a lot of interesting things that you can do, like either in day trips or do like multi-day trips to kind of do like big loops to other things, which I may or may not do depending on sort of the availability of time. One of the things you can go and see up there is there are certain areas that are that were heavily involved in the opium trade at one time, and somebody or other in the United States government dubbed it the Golden Triangle, and it still kind of has that name. And this is one of the places you can go. So the interesting things that I'm looking for beyond that is that different parts of Thailand have sort of different foods that they're known for. So I've been kind of here far south, which we think we know for the fresh seafood, but I've been in a really touristy place, so there's been like, I can look down the street and see a whole bunch of like restaurants that you recognize. I have done some seafood, not necessarily a lot. Chiang Mai has a bunch of different stuff, like because they're a lot farther north, there's a lot less Muslims, so there's a lot more pork, and they'll have a lot more like freshwater fish. And I understand it's a little bit easier to find dishes made with things like rat and things like that there, so there may be rat in my future. One of the things I've still been trying to eat is the bugs. Like, I've been looking for the bug lady. They have different insects that they've deep fried and flavored. I'm particularly looking for the grasshoppers. And the bug lady doesn't really seem to come here because I think the Westerners probably aren't really digging the bugs, which is too bad because there's probably a bug lady here somewhere. I just haven't been able to find her. So, better hopes that the bug lady will be in Chiang Mai. I have like an assignment that's kind of like due this weekend. It's more of like an online posting thing. And I'm more than ready to do it. I'm actually like kind of already doing the preliminaries for like this next one that I gotta do. But there's like a time zone difference where there's people had to post a comment and then everybody else has to respond to the comment. And I'm one of the people that responds to like this online essay thing. And so the deadline was midnight on Friday, but midnight on Friday for me is 14 hours ahead of everybody else, right? So presumably people have submitted these comments a little bit later because we're not quite midnight Edmonton time quite yet because it's not even 11 o'clock here, so it's like, I don't know, like 9 o'clock in Edmonton, so people still have some time. Given a little bit more time, when I get to the airport, I'm going to check the big luggage, and I have like a smaller thing, which has like an iPad in it, so I can probably get on Wi-Fi there and at least view some of these things, and so I can kind of do some of that homeworky kind of stuff while I'm sitting in the airport anyway, so that is the plan. And if I can read it all out while I'm in the airport, and when I arrive at Chiang Mai, I can just submit all that stuff immediately online and then not have to worry about it, so I can immediately spend like the next day like getting out and doing stuff.
So this thing actually is very encouraging. In this airport, I've been watching people go to this machine that is essentially just saran wrapping their bags with a little piece of paper that's saying that your bag is not secure, that no one's going to open it. This is the second airport that I've traveled domestically in Thailand, and I'm going to assume there's not much of a problem with that, but I guess some people are a little concerned. I guess there's a lot of travelers here.
Okay, so just arrived in Chiang Mai. It's a 2-hour-ish flight from where I was. Pretty uneventful flight. The airline that I used is the same one I used when I went to Phuket, which is AirAsia, which is like Asia's equivalent of WestJet. It's almost exactly the same airline, just with a bunch of Asians and different colors. Colors of like the planes, that is. 737 Boeings, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty much exactly like WestJet. So yeah, I'm doing the whole like wait for the luggage thing. I did send an email to the hotel I was staying with because they actually did offer like a whole hotel like transfer thing. But I have no idea if he got that because I sent it kind of late. So after I get my suitcase here, I'm going to wander outside and see if there's a Mr. Sillitoe sign out there. And if not, I have to go and find a taxi and see if I can figure out, tell this guy where I want to go. Okay, so there was no dude at the airport, which is fun. The taxis here were like very reasonable. It was like the equivalent of like $4 to get from the airport to my downtown hotel. This room is huge. By huge, I mean there's a lot of like, there's actually space to like walk around. So like the last couple I've been staying in this room for like the bed and then not really that much else. It's kind of like the dresser and stuff. But I have a table, I have lights, I have a little balcony. My bathroom is pretty minuscule. It's one of these affairs where like the shower and the toilet are kind of like in the same space. So like I might, be sloshing around if I have to take a shower and then take a pee afterwards. But that's fine. There's no lockbox in here, which is a little bit of a concern because like every hotel I've stayed in so far has like this little miniature safe that you get to like put your own password in. So the idea being that I don't want to like haul my passport around with me if I can avoid it, because if I lose the passport, it's a huge hassle to replace it. But that's okay for now. So I think I'm gonna go for a little stroll. I actually don't know exactly where I am in relation to anything in this city. So I'm going to take a look at the map that comes in the guidebook, but the guidebook map isn't really that good. See if I can find some water, and it's about 10 o'clock at night, so like I don't think I'm going to do much. The person that like runs this hotel wasn't really there, so like there was like a caretaker kind of there that gave me like my room key was kind of taped to the desk kind of thing, so I actually haven't done all like the signing in stuff, but I have a place to stay, so that far I'm good. So I don't know, we'll sort this out tomorrow. There's a whole bunch of like night markets and open air markets and stuff that is kind of interesting to me. That's the sort of stuff I like doing in Bangkok, so that's probably what I will be doing tomorrow.
So I decided to go for a walk immediately upon arriving at Chiang Mai. And I found this walking market not very far away from my hotel. And the city's kind of known for a couple of the good ones. This is supposed to be a spot like the place that I came from. You'll kind of see the same store selling the same things over and over again, and you really only need so many knockoff Ralph Lauren polo shirts. This place is supposed to be known for actually like having some things that are made by Thai people that you might actually want. Just the monks going for a stroll, I guess. One of the things I've been told about this town is that there's a lot of different temples to go to, a lot of different Buddhist temples to go to. I guess they're all free, donations accepted, of course. And these guys are like more than happy to have a conversation with you, because I guess a lot of the young ones are learning English, and so like they're very happy to tell you everything they know at the temple for the excuse to practice. So I wanted to give a little tour of the room that I'm staying in, at least for the next couple of days before I head out. There's a big street market, a big walking market that I want to go check out that's only on Sundays. So this is my sink, my mirror. I thought this was kind of fun. So like, this is the only bathroom I've had that's like this. So it does have like the European toilet, but it has like the shower basically right there. So you can see like around like the murky corner there that it actually has like the drain. So it dries out very, very quickly, which is kind of cool. So I don't have to like walk around in water the whole time. Second door, which is locked. That is my air conditioner, and that is my balcony. It's not a very big balcony, but it's a very nice balcony, so you can see all the tile roofs, the buildings on this side. I discovered that over there, on the other side of this tree and building, there's one of these like water refill stations, so I'm back to cheaping out on water again, which is nice, being the cheap bastard that I am. Okay, lock the door. The TV over here, a little refrigerator right there. And we lock out the front door. So this is the third floor. You can see that this is actually a much nicer city than Bangkok. They've gone into a lot of detail to make sure it looks very nice. So down there is the main office of this house, or the hotel rather. And I actually just had lunch down there, so they have like little like restaurant facilities, and so like everything in this area you're kind of seeing over here. I took a walk in this area, and there's quite a few little guest houses just being like small family-run hotels. And you can kind of see over there, there's like one big hotel, but they seem to have a rule that for the most part you can't build anything more than 3 stories tall. So for the most part, it's actually like a pretty like chilled out looking city, at least what I've seen so far. So we're gonna head just kind of further back in that direction. This city used to be at one time like one of the capitals of like a bunch of the little kingdoms that was eventually became Thailand as we know it right now. So in that direction, there's actually what used to be like the capital, the quote-unquote the old city. So the original old city had a wall around it, with a moat. So the moat's actually still there. So they built the road like on either side of this moat, and some parts of the wall is still there. And so it's kind of two series of like one-way roads to kind of zip in and out of this thing. So there's a bunch of cool temples. I've actually walked by like a bunch without even realizing it, because you just, you know, get busy looking in one direction, and behind you, oh, there's that other giant temple. I can see way off in the distance that you probably can't see, like way up about there. There's sort of like a golden sparkling thing, and I remember reading about that. That's another temple kind of way up there, so that'll probably be like a day-long trek. So I'm up and out. I'm gonna go find a shopping mall to see if I can kind of get like a grounding of like where I can get like, that tends to be where the big grocery stores is, so I want to go get some supplies. So I'm not eating out for every meal. And I will whittle my way back across the city to this walking market, and then you get to see like the real stuff. Like, this is North Thailand, and everything is craftsmanship here. So, you know, everything I'm going to see these stands, typically speaking, is going to be the person that's selling it to me is the person that made it. So that should be pretty cool.
So I should have kept that video going a little bit longer, because that was quite the journey. I don't usually take the tuk-tuks because in Bangkok and in Patong Beach, they're kind of pushy and like they always haggle you high, and that doesn't really seem to be the case here. So the guy actually threw out a number, and I didn't even like bargain with him because it seemed like kind of a good deal, and he seemed like a nice guy. So on the way here, traffic laws, particularly for motorcyclists or tuk-tuks, they're kind of like suggestions, really. So like at one point, he's kind of an older guy, he's got some gray. He's having a hard time like keeping this, basically a motorcycle in the front of like a carriage, right? So when he gets to a stop, sometimes his vehicle kind of stalls out, so he's trying to like keep from stopping like too much. So instead of getting stuck behind a little bit of traffic, at one point what he does is he kind of looks over. They drive on the left side of the road here. He looks on the right side. He sees there's not any oncoming traffic in the oncoming lane, so just like totally like zips out into like, you know, the opposite lane, and then drives like 20 car lengths ahead, and then kind of signals with his hand to like get back in, and then gets right back into it. And it was quite the adventure. And at no point do you feel like you're gonna die, but it was fun to watch. Like, I'm probably gonna take more tuk-tuks in this town because I know they're not gonna like screw me over as much. And that's just the psychological thing I can't handle. Like, it doesn't cost a lot. Like, you know, they do kind of like overcharge you in Canadian dollars, but like, it just drives you crazy. But it's a lot of fun though. So you feel every bump along the way, and you got like the oh shit handle up here. It's great. Like, so when you all come to Chiang Mai, you know, be a little bit more willing to take those tuk-tuks maybe, because it won't cost you an arm and a leg, and it'll just be a good old time.
So whenever I end up in a major center, I inevitably find one of these. This was what do they call these? The Sushimi-do or something like that. Anyway, so this is from like a store called Mr. Donut, and basically what they've done is they've kind of done the equivalent of Timbits, but they've made them all look like individual pieces of sushi. So this tray was about 100 baht, which is like 350, and I've actually tried to take pictures of this like a bunch of times. I've seen advertisements all over the place, like on TVs and things like that, but I wanted to take a picture of the actual things, but they kind of shoo you away when you try and do that. So I'm actually going to give that guy a try. So check out the Asian equivalent of the Timbits, I guess.
Alright, so this has been this ongoing journey to find the bug lady, and I'm at a street market, and the bug lady was here. So she had crickets, she had caterpillars, she had cocoons of some kind, and she had grasshoppers. So I thought I would dive in with both feet. So I have with me the bag of the grasshoppers, fried. I'm not really sure with what kind of spice. So I thought I would do that live for all of you. So that right there is the grasshopper. Yeah. Okay, 3, 2, 1. It tastes like like butter, some kind of spice. I can't really tell. You know when you eat like a shrimp, you maybe don't take like the tail of the shrimp off, you know, when you get like the shrimp cocktail? It's very similar to that. Yeah, I'd eat more of these. This is like, it's almost like movie popcorn. Like I could eat this through watching a movie. Like my fingers are getting buttery just doing this. I expected more ick. You know what I mean? I expected that to be way grosser. Like it was going to be alive. So you didn't have the cockroaches. And my guidebook said that's another really popular one. The issue being with the cockroaches can be kind of big. So sometimes you gotta yank the wings and yank the legs out, because otherwise they get like caught in your throat, I guess. I'll let you know when I find more bugs.